When Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing left Sky Sports in 2021, they left a huge hole in the mainstream British boxing scene. Over the previous 10 years, Hearn had a big hand in creating household names, starting with Froch vs Groves and their bitter feud culminating in a Wembley rematch. But the biggest star by far was the Olympic gold medalist and two-time world champion Anthony Joshua, potentially the biggest commercial star British boxing had ever known, or at least in the conversation. So when Sky Sports replaced Hearn and Matchroom with a largely unknown Ben Shalom and his boxer company, eyebrows were raised. Shalom was the mastermind behind the Ultimate Boxer series, a tournament-style fight night that was successful enough to make it onto Channel 5 and run 7 shows, all through the weight divisions. Now with the Sky Sports powerhouse behind him, Ben Shalom became the youngest major promoter, and things started really well, with high-profile signings such as Chris Eubank Jr. Boxer's first really big show came in the form of Amir Khan vs Kell Brook to finally settle the bitter feud. Although both were far past their primes, the rivalry was huge, and did really strong pay-per-view numbers, believed to be over 500,000 buys. This was followed up by the controversial clash for the undisputed super lightweight crown in a co-promotion with Top Rank between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. Boxer's first year also included the first major all-female women's card as Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall settled their decade-long rivalry at the O2 Arena in London, on a card that also featured Michaela Mayer vs Alicia Baumgardner. Things were going really well, and there were a number of Boxer success stories in the first couple of years. Natasha Jonas became the unified super welterweight champion and IBF welterweight champion, including a defence in a great fight versus Michaela Mayer in the home city of Liverpool. Vidal Riley has gone from strength to strength as a rising name in the cruiserweight division, becoming English champion with a strong win versus Mikael Lawal, and British champion at the home of his beloved Tottenham Hotspur versus Chevron Clark. Adam Azim looks to be one of the best prospects in world boxing. At only 23 years of age, he has already been European champion and has won a minor world title in the shape of the IBO Super Welterweight crown. Having recently signed a new deal, he will almost certainly be the poster boy for Boxer going forwards. Undoubtedly, losing Ben Whittaker to Matchroom will really hurt. Commercially, Ben Whittaker has been a massive success since winning silver at the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games. Entertaining and always controversial, he does huge views despite not having fought at a truly high level as of yet as a pro, but he does have potential to go on to be a household name with Matchroom. In the women's division, Caroline Dubois looks like she may well be the next superstar in women's boxing. At only 24 years old, she is already WBC World Lightweight Champion under the stable of Shane McGuigan. The sky is truly the limit for Sweet Caroline. And there have also been a number of underdog stories for Boxer. Dan Aziz has had a meteoric rise despite mixed form recently since his defeat to Joshua Buatsi. He burst onto the scene winning the British light heavyweight crown versus Hosea Burton, defended it 3 times to win it outright, and then went on to win the European crown on away turf in Paris versus Thomas Fuhr. Tyler Denny has had his own fairy tale story, capturing the European crown in front of his home fans at Wolverhampton versus Matteo Zingani, propelling him to Wembley Stadium and a date with Hamza Shiraz. There was no shame in defeat to Shiraz, and either way it was a great journey for Denny. The biggest fairy tale story may well be Chris Billam-Smith, although I am biased. He brought boxing back to the South Coast, twice to the Bournemouth International Centre to an unbelievable atmosphere to defend his European Cruiserweight title, then to the stadium for his dream night, becoming WBO World Cruiserweight Champion against his former stablemate Lawrence Okolie. He then defended his crown back at the BIC versus Mateusz Masternak before avenging his only loss up until that point, this time on away turf at Selhurst Park, defeating Richard Riakporhe. This led to a huge unification in Saudi Arabia versus Gilberto Ramirez. Billam-Smith was brave, but he was outclassed in the end. Since then he has bounced back with a win at his 3rd Premier League football stadium versus the loudmouth American Brandon Glanton. While certainly there have been many successes, it certainly hasn't been plain sailing. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are ruthless businessmen and don't take kindly to new competition. They slated Shalom for his dealings in the purse bid situation with Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark, and Jai Opetaia versus Richard Riakporhe. In fairness, Shalom didn't deal with him well. shying away from 50-50s unless it was with both boxers under the Boxer stable. Despite this, Wardley vs Clark did happen eventually, and it was excellent. Boxer have had a habit of staying quiet when their back has been against the wall, not ideal for a promotional company. Despite this, Chris Eubank Jr. has been a consistent cash cow throughout, with 2 pay-per-view clashes versus Liam Smith and his massive legacy-defining night versus Conor Benn, with Boxer and Matchroom working together on this occasion. Women's boxing has also been another strength, with another all-female card headlining at the Royal Albert Hall this year, as Lauren Price outclassed Natasha Jonas. However, this wasn't enough to convince Sky Sports to renew their deal with Boxer earlier in the year. Just when it looked like Boxer may be out of the game, a huge announcement was released, the return of boxing to the BBC. The potential for this is massive. Boxing has always been a big sport but hasn't hit the mainstream in the same way football does, for example. Only certain names like AJ and Tyson Fury in this era of boxing in the UK have achieved this. It can be difficult to overcome the expensive subscriptions required for Sky Sports or DAZN, let alone pay-per-view on top of that. That's why opening up boxing to the BBC can be so powerful, massively expanding reach and audience with a great 2-hour time slot before Match of the Day comes on. It has the potential to make boxing mainstream in the UK once more and inspire the next generation of British boxing. First up will be Frazer Clarke vs Jamie TKV for the British heavyweight title on a new date of the 29th of November. It should be an easy sell, with the title already being held by legends such as Henry Cooper, Frank Bruno, Lennox Lewis, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. If Boxer emphasised that fact in promotion, it would be a great way to introduce the new generation to boxing on the BBC. It's almost been 20 years, but boxing is back. For the health of the sport in the UK, I only hope it becomes a success.